The vastness of space rippled as General Zorvan's squadron of 6 battlecruisers burst forth from warp speed, bearing directly down on the besieged planet Orenthia. Each ship, sleek and imposing, gleamed menacingly as its engines hummed with a latent energy, ready for battle. The sight before them was as magnificent as it was haunting. The immense Drac behemoths, stretching out in an intimidating line formation, mercilessly bombarding Orenthia below. Streaks of violent energy rained down from the Drac ships, tearing into the planet's surface, creating massive explosions. Plumes of smoke rose, scarring the beautiful blue and green landscape that once represented life and harmony. Now, it symbolized devastation and desperation. General Zorvan's sharp eyes took in the scene in a matter of seconds, his brow furrowing at the sight of the bombardment. Every instinct in him screamed to dive headfirst into the conflict, but he knew that strategy and precision would be crucial.
All vessels form attack pattern Delta.
Zorvan's voice rang out, echoing with clarity and purpose.
Our primary target is the Drac behemoth on the right flank. Focus all firepower on that ship.
In response, the 6 Federation cruisers swiftly adjusted their formations. Their sleek designs contrasted sharply with the looming, monstrous aesthetics of the Drac vessels. Each Federation ship powered up its weapon systems, the Veritane-enhanced torpedoes humming to life, poised and ready for Zorvan's command. On the bridge of Zorvan's flagship, officers and crew worked feverishly, coordinating with the other ships, optimizing shield frequencies and locking onto the designated Drac behemoth.
All torpedoes locked and ready, General,
reported Lieutenant Mara, her voice holding a hint of anxious anticipation. Zorvan nodded, his jaw set with determination.
On my mark. Fire.
As if choreographed, a salvo of bright torpedoes streaked through space from the Federation ships, zeroing in on their target. The torpedoes impacted with ferocious power, creating a series of brilliant explosions across the hull of the targeted Drac ship. Beams of laser fire accompanied the torpedoes, each strike hitting with precision and power. The behemoth tried to retaliate, sending out an array of defensive measures and attempting to evade, but the focused assault was relentless. Every time it tried to patch up a damaged section, another barrage would hit, widening the damage further.
Keep up the pressure,
Zorvan shouted, feeling the first taste of hope. The bridge was filled with a cacophony of sounds, the rapid beeping of consoles, the tense orders being relayed, and the occasional cheer as they saw the behemoth falter. But amidst the focused assault, a more somber sight was unfolding. Smaller ships, desperate to escape the nightmare below, darted from Orenthia's surface. They were not warships, but civilian transports, filled with refugees hoping to escape the carnage. Their desperate trajectory, however, took them perilously close to the Drac behemoths. Zorvan's heart clenched as he watched the scene unfold. Each transport represented countless lives, hopes, and dreams.
Protect those ships at all costs,
he commanded, hoping to provide them with a safe passage. However, despite their best efforts, the distance and the overwhelming might of the Drac behemoths meant they could only do so much. One by one, the Drac fleet targeted the fleeing vessels, mercilessly picking them off. The heart-wrenching scene fueled the determination of Zorvan and his crew even more. Their relentless assault on the Drac behemoth continued with renewed vigor, as they hoped to make at least one enemy pay for the suffering caused. And as the part closed, it was evident that the tide of battle was only beginning to turn, with much more at stake than anyone could have imagined. Shift in the tide. As the relentless assault on the Drac behemoth continued, it was evident that Zorvan's strategy was taking its toll. The massive enemy ship, which had once seemed invulnerable, was now smoldering with huge breaches in its armored exterior. Sparks flew from its once mighty weapon ports, and its defensive shields flickered intermittently. The Federation cruiser's Veritane-enhanced firepower was proving more formidable than anyone had anticipated. But the moment of triumph was bittersweet, overshadowed by the grim sight of the civilian vessels being struck down. Each explosion served as a painful reminder of the price of war. The bridge crew's initial cheers slowly gave way to a silent determination. Everyone knew what was at stake. As the beleaguered Drac behemoth showed signs of critical damage, Zorvan called out,
"Prepare to target the next one. We need to give our people more time."
However, the other Drac ships had been observing the engagement closely. Not willing to see another of their kind fall, the four remaining behemoths began to change their formations. Almost in unison, they started to rotate and angle their enormous hulls toward Zorvan's squadron. Their move was clearly defensive, seeking to shield their wounded kin from further harm. The pause was momentary. Suddenly, with a harmony that spoke of shared consciousness or an eerily synchronized AI, they unleashed a concentrated salvo of energy projectiles toward Zorvan's ships. Space around the cruisers lit up with brilliant flashes as deadly projectiles hurtled towards them. General Zorvan, realizing the imminent threat, shouted,
"Evasive maneuvers, brace for impact."
Despite the crew's best efforts, the onslaught was overpowering. Zorvan's fleet, though advanced and nimble, was significantly outnumbered and outgunned. Two of the Federation ships took direct hits. One cruiser's shields failed instantly under the barrage, causing a massive explosion that ripped it apart. The other ship, though still intact, was severely crippled, its engine trails flickering as it struggled to maintain formation. "General, we've lost the Serena, and the pulsar is heavily damaged," reported Commander Rael, his voice filled with anguish. The weight of leadership pressed heavily on Zorvan. Each lost ship was not just metal and tech, it was filled with brave souls under his command. He clenched his fists, the usually stoic general allowing a hint of anger to pierce his features. The scene on the bridge was chaotic, with alarms blaring and officers shouting reports and orders. But amidst this, a senior officer, Captain Trell, voiced the sentiment on everyone's minds.
"General, we can't leave the planet. What about our people?"
Zorvan took a deep breath, steadying himself amidst the turmoil.
"We can't help them if we're dead, Captain."
He replied grimly, making a heart-wrenching decision.
"All ships, disengage and regroup. We need to fall back."
But retreating wasn't so straightforward. The Drac behemoths, sensing the tide of battle turning in their favor, pressed their advantage. They pursued the Federation ships, firing volley after volley, determined to not let a single one escape. Zorvan, drawing upon his years of experience, led his fleet in evasive patterns, using asteroid clusters and the magnetic fields of Orenthia's moons as cover, trying to break line of sight with their pursuers. The game of cat and mouse was tense, with the remaining Federation ships narrowly avoiding several devastating barrages. As the cruisers managed to gain some distance, Zorvan received a priority transmission from the Galactic War Council. The holographic figure of Admiral Krell appeared.
"General Zorvan, rendezvous with the main Federation fleet, 2 parsecs away from your current position."
Zorvan nodded.
"Understood, Admiral. We're on our way."
The Federation cruisers, their once shining hulls battered and scorched, engaged their warp drives, vanishing from the vicinity of Orenthia. Behind them, the malevolent behemoths turned their attention back to the beleaguered planet, resuming their ruthless bombardment. Betrayal from within. Several light-years away, aboard the sprawling Drac behemoth, Rice, Lyra, Arlon, and Lithia found themselves trapped amidst a vast sea of cold metal and oppressive despair. The ship's air, thick with tension, seemed to suppress every ray of hope. Yet, in the quiet corners of their cells and the shadows of the corridors, a delicate plan had started to form, anchored by an unlikely alliance. Deep within the ship's dimly lit chambers, Arlen leaned closer to Rice and whispered,
"Remember, on the third moonrise, everything changes."
Rice gave a curt nod while Lyra, using her delicate fingers, subtly communicated in a series of coded hand gestures to Lithia. The latter, a master of deciphering the most cryptic of messages, instantly understood. Among the Drac guards, one stood out. Draven, with his upright posture and a distinct scar running down his left cheek, seemed like any other dedicated guardian of the Drac collective. But hidden beneath that formidable exterior was a past intertwined with Arlen's. Years ago, on a clandestine mission, Arlen had saved Draven, leading to an unspoken bond between them. Now, with the universe at stake, Draven's loyalty to his savior was about to be put to the test. The third moonrise was nearing. From the behemoth's transparent sections, one could witness the celestial events beginning as the third moon of Orenthia started its ascent. Its silver sheen painted the ship, making everything momentarily ethereal. As the Drac guards prepared for their shift change, taking a momentary reprieve, Draven made his move. Accessing the ship's control panel with a stolen code, he deactivated the containment fields of the holding cells. Instantaneously, doors slid open and out poured the prisoners, confused, angry, and desperate. The behemoth turned into a battleground. Some prisoners, acting on pure instinct, attacked the Drac guards, using any improvised weapon they could find. The chaos served as a diversion, drawing the attention of reinforcements and overwhelming the ship's internal security. Using this pandemonium as a cover, Draven swiftly met with Arlen's group.
This way,
He commanded, leading them through a labyrinth of passageways. Every turn they took, every corridor they entered was calculated, following a path Draven had meticulously planned. As they maneuvered, they encountered pockets of Drac resistance. With a cold, clinical efficiency, Draven neutralized them. His allegiance to Arlen was clear. Each shot he fired against his kin was a testament to the depth of his loyalty and the gravity of their mission. Lithia, with her profound knowledge of alien technology, aided their escape by periodically disabling surveillance nodes, ensuring their movement remained undetected. Meanwhile, Lyra, ever the protector, watched their six, ensuring no surprise attacks would hamper their progress. Reaching a concealed junction, Draven input a sequence into a hidden panel, revealing an elevator.
this will take us directly to the hangar. The stealth ship is there.
He said, urgency evident in his voice. As the elevator doors slid shut, the team took a moment to breathe, the weight of their daring escape pressing on them. They had ignited a firestorm, but the most challenging part was yet to come. The lift's doors opened, revealing the vast expanse of the hangar. There, nestled between massive Drac war machines, was their salvation, the sleek, nimble stealth ship, its design a stark contrast to the behemoth's brutalist architecture. Their escape was within reach, but first, they would have to overcome the final line of Drac defense. The guards, alert to the unfolding escape, had already started converging on the hangar. Drawing his weapon, Draven said,
Go, get to the ship, I'll hold them off.
The promise of a reunion and the hope of freedom spurred the team forward as they charged towards the awaiting vessel. Draven reached out to open the hangar doors from the control panel. They were almost free. Flight of the stealth ship. Rice sprinted ahead, his legs pumping, the roar of the ensuing battle filling his ears. He could hear the shouts of Drac guards and the unmistakable hum of energy weapons. Yet above it all, the steady beat of his heart, synchronized with the rapid footsteps of his allies, resonated loudest. Lyra, her reflexes honed by countless skirmishes, deftly dodged incoming fire, providing covering shots for Arlen and Lithia. Arlen, meanwhile, directed them towards the stealth ship, his memories of it clear as they had discussed the layout previously. The sleek vessel, with its aerodynamic contours and shimmering exterior, stood waiting. Rice, recognizing the familiar silhouette of the ship they once piloted on their spy mission, felt a surge of hope. As they drew closer, Lyra moved swiftly to the access panel, her fingers dancing over the touchpad. Within moments, the boarding ramp lowered with a hiss, revealing the ship's familiar interior.
Lyra, help me take off!
Rice shouted, moving to the pilot's seat. Without hesitation, Lyra took the co-pilot's position, her hands flying over the controls, initializing systems and priming engines. Outside, the battle intensified. Draven, a one-man army, held his ground against the swarm of Drac guards. Each shot he fired found its mark, creating a barrier between the pursuers and the stealth ship. But the numbers were against him, and every passing moment saw the enemy drawing closer. Rice, unwilling to leave a comrade behind, opened a side hatch and aimed his weapon, sending a barrage of suppressive fire at the incoming Drac forces.
Draven, now!
He yelled. Draven, seizing the momentary respite, sprinted towards the stealth ship. However, as he neared, a sudden blast knocked him off his feet. One of the Drac had managed a direct hit. Lithia's scream pierced the tension-filled air, but there was no time for grief or hesitation.
We have to go now,
shouted Arlen, his voice heavy with urgency and sorrow. The stealth ship roared to life, its thrusters pushing it upwards. The massive hangar doors began to close, attempting to trap the ship. But Lyra, showcasing her exceptional piloting skills, navigated through the narrowing gap and out into the vastness of space. Once clear of the behemoth, Arlen activated the stealth ship's cloaking mechanism, rendering them nearly invisible to the Drac's sensors. But they weren't safe yet. As they gained distance, smaller Drac interceptors began their pursuit. Lyra's fingers danced over the controls, evading the oncoming attackers.
Hold on!
She yelled, executing a series of maneuvers that showcased the ship's agility. Rice, manning the onboard weapons system, managed to take down several interceptors, but their numbers were overwhelming.
We can't keep this up.
Rice yelled.
We need to make the jump to FTL.
Arlen, poring over the navigational charts, quickly plotted a course.
Aligning for FTL jump.
He announced. Moments felt like hours, the tension palpable as Drac ships closed in. With a blinding flash of light and a surge of power, the stealth ship jumped, leaving the Drac interceptors behind. The vast expanse of space stretched ahead, with stars blurring as they entered FTL. If you follow The Last Humans, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and like this video. Thank you for your time.